So, Abzan Seasons Past. Abzan, for those not familiar, refers to the color combination of green, black, and white. This is a base green-black deck with a small white splash. While it looks like, to the unobservant eye, we are splashing white in this deck for Sorin Grim Nemesis, what we are actually splashing white for in this deck is Shambling Vent, this really powerful creature land that allows our control deck to play a high land count and also have an extra threat in the mana base. Shambling Vent is also incredibly good with Sylvan Advocate here, so you'll note with the Sylvan Advocate that makes our creature lands better, we have 4 Shambling Vent, 2 Hissing Quagmire, and a Mutavault, so we have 7 creature lands for Sylvan Advocate to pump up the jam with. The namesake card of this deck, Seasons Past here, is a powerful card advantage engine. Returns any number of cards with different converted mana costs from our graveyard to our hand. And then this goes back on the bottom of our deck. And something that we do in the really late game against other decks that are looking to grind is we establish a loop where we cast Seasons Past, pick back up Dark Petition out of our discard pile, and then we use Dark Petition to fetch Seasons Past back up out of our deck to loop this, generating some kind of endless value. Dark Petition also gives us a little bit of a tutor package in this deck, so you'll note we have a variety of different 3-mana black cards that we can cast off the triple black from Dark Petition. So we have Read the Bones, Cry, Liliana, Murderous Rider, and even these 4-mana black cards in a way allow us to tutor with Seasons Past, Contempt, Languish, Kalitas, etc. You think we have enough instants and sorceries for Spell Mastery? Yeah, we've got, this is 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yeah, there's like 15 instants and sorceries in here. All right, let's go ahead and dive on into a league here with this one and see how it goes. +25 instants and sorceries? That seems unnecessary. 3 mana Nissa is very, very good. Super powerful card. Isn't Utter End a better Vraska's Contempt? It's a more flexible Vraska's Contempt, but it doesn't gain us life. So what artifacts and enchantments do you feel like are really important that Utter End is worth playing? As opposed to Contempt, which is easier to cast. So you get to lead on Godless Shrine on 1, cast Thoughtseize. Voice of Resurgence is actually quite annoying. Oh, I have Cry in my hand. That's sick. Okay, let's take this Tramoka's command. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. Last chance. Thanks for 11 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. So, Voice normally makes a token when it dies. Cry exiles, so. And Cry notably does not kill Sylvan Advocate, because Sylvan Advocate's a 2/3. God bless us, everyone. A 2-mana creature that don't die to cry, don't die to cry, don't die to cry. Do 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 do. All right, they have 1 card left. Please be another card that dies to cry. Oh, moments before the accident. Moments before the accident. Oh, no. Oh, no. And here I thought this was a control deck. I didn't know it was possible to win on turn 4. GG. The Weather Lady, thank you for the 12 months of support. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Hope you have a good one wherever you are. Goodbye, friends. Goodbye, indestructible friends. Attack with the Sylvan Advocate to let them know what's up. Just took a shower, now I feel dirty again. Yeah, they need, like, Collected Company, like, right now, right? Oh, and they're even all exiled. So they can't scavenge a goose. Is it silly to hold the land so we get more tracker triggers? Yes, my deck is full of lands. I don't want to miss a land drop. Maybe if I didn't have a 5th land already, I'd consider holding a land, but with having a 5th land already. We're just gonna go ahead and decay this. And then, like, we actually get to close the game incredibly quickly now, right? Like, next turn we play a 6th land, which turns Advocate into a 4/5. We crack a Clue, make Tracker 4 power. We're going to attack for 12 next turn. Yes, yeah, holding a land means the Advocate's further away from growing up. The Yawgmoth deck this morning was so good. I told the person that had the last Modern deck in the queue that they could get a refund or they could change their deck to a different format. Because I'm not touching Modern until they gut that format. It was real bad. Yeah, Advocate makes your lands bigger. It's possible that not playing Nissa in this deck is wrong. I think there's definitely a Sylvan Advocate Nissa deck in this format, because, like, Advocate makes Nissa lands 5/5s, which is pretty sweet. Decay sounds great. Extra Cry sounds great. To the Slaughter's probably not good against their deck with Mana Dorks. Honestly, I'm probably supposed to cut these cards here and just be lower to the ground. Nissa, who shakes, brings all the boys to the yard. And they're like, you want to play cards? I will trade you, but not my Charizard. Do 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 beep 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 do 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 do. Cause it's a sneepa keepa doo 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 sneepa pa keepa pa doo 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 doo. I've enjoyed my time playing Pioneer so far. Weatherlighty a good deal. But to be above the board, Pioneer has not been given a chance to settle in the 2 or 3 months now that it's been a format. So January 6th, 5 days from now, next Monday, is going to be the last rapid fire, like weekly or bi-weekly ban list update. So by the end of January, I kind of expect to give reasonable feedback on the format. Of course, it's also going to be kind of tough because, like, we're gonna get a new set in the middle of January too that'll shake things up a little bit. So I'm of the opinion that new formats are always fun. So I tend to try and reserve giving too strong of feedback on something that's still very new. Saffron just posted another, like, old man yells at the clouds, he hates change type tweet. Saffron is, like, vehemently against the London Mulligan. He's very, very much not pleased that people don't stumble and die as much as they used to. His tinfoil hat is firmly strapped on, and he's convinced the London Mulligan is to blame. Or sorry, to not misrepresent his position, he's not saying it's the London Mulligan's fault, but he's not saying it's the London Mulligan's fault. I feel like that's what his position basically is. I'm not saying it was aliens, but yeah. And we talked about this earlier too. One of the things the London Mulligan definitely did is the London Mulligan increased the amount of discrepancy there was between the good decks and the bad decks in Magic. Gosh, I almost feel bad at this point. This is just rude. Cry me a river, baby. So I think, Saffron, like me in a lot of ways, he makes a lot of his content playing bad decks, right? Like a lot of what I do on this stream is playing bad decks. And with the London Mulligan, it made both of our jobs harder, right? Like, it's easier to make a deck that's not good appear like it was okay when your opponents are mulliganing and dying or stumbling and dying more often. Guy, I almost feel bad at this point. I almost feel bad. Almost. Not quite, but almost. What's the difference between your favorite leagues on YouTube and your recommended decks on your website? A lot of the decks that I like on... A lot of the decks that are marked as my favorite leagues on YouTube end up as recommended decks on my website. So the favorite leagues on YouTube are basically chronological. They're for people who try and keep up with my content on the regular but can't watch every league every day. Is the goal of that? I think I'm gonna go ahead and just kill their 5/5 here. This game's pretty done. We're solidly in garbage time at this point. That's true, Percy. I'm not trying to sell bad decks as potentially being good or playable, which I frequently have people who get upset on my YouTube channel. They're like, man, the person who submitted this deck should feel bad. And I was like, well, anybody who's like watched my content should know that like I'm not going to be nice to their deck if their deck submission wasn't good, right? Like I'm of the opinion that people are sending me their decks and their money to pay me to help them learn, is there something here? So like I'm not here to sugarcoat it or to get people to like try something that's not good. I mean, you're technically correct that I didn't give them a chance to make a mistake, Weatherlighty, but like in actuality, it just doesn't matter. If you think your deck is your personality, you've got... I mean, to be fair, a lot of people get very attached to the decks that they work on. I think that's why a lot of people, like, when I've been critical of Legacy in the long past, or when I've been critical of Modern more recently, people take that, my negativity or my assessments of the format, as personal attacks, because for a lot of people, it's hard for them to disconnect and step back from, Jeff doesn't like this thing that I spent $2,000 or $3,000 on in some case, from Jeff doesn't like me. And like they take it personally because they're so monetarily invested in their deck or their format that when I show up and say, I don't really like this and this is why, they're like, oh, Jeff is saying I made a bad decision and Jeff is criticizing my investment. So, yeah, that's true too. Emotionally invested, a big thing. It's not even just dollars, right? Like a lot of the times you think about players who have spent a lot of time and energy on their decks too, right? Like they've spent years learning this deck. And like, you know, they almost certainly, players who have spent years learning a deck are going to play it better than I do. But like, if the only reason your deck is good is because you know every in and out of it, that deck's not actually good. You're just have experience with it, and if you put that experience into a better deck, you'd have better results with a better deck. I would love another green source. Thank you for asking. Do I fatal push this? Probably not at this point, right? I feel the same when you criticize The Witcher. If you weren't here yesterday, I did actually finish the Witcher series and I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to the second season. I think they approached making the show poorly in a couple of ways, but overall it was good. I'm not really into Star Wars, so I haven't watched the Mandalorian or whatever it's called. I am currently, oh, I should have left Fatal Push up here, right? I'm currently halfway into, after The Witcher, I dove back into The Magicians last night, and I'm halfway through season 3 on that one. Hey, no worries, Scar. I appreciate you keeping me around. Thanks for the support. Hope your new year is off to a good start. So a little punished here for not killing this, huh? These Abrupt Decays not being trophies, also clearly on display. Hopefully whatever other threats they have at this point die to Abrupt Decay. That's true. If the Contempt was Utter End, we'd have been able to Utter End the Great Henge here. I don't know if I'd Utter End the Great Henge versus the Sirach, though, honestly. Ugh. Well then. That's a thing. So, my not killing this elf really snowballed on us, huh? I should have killed the elf. If I would have killed the elf, they wouldn't have been able to Sirach into Great Henge, and they wouldn't have been able to Gulta. If I lose this game, it's definitely on me. Sure. That's actually a little aggressive, because, like, my deck has a trophy and stuff in it. Like, we could realistically kill this. Yeah, I used Languish because it was going to be more mana efficient. And Abrupt Decay kills things like Lovestruck Beast and a Yorvo with a counter on it, and Languish doesn't. So Languish was my more restrictive removal spell. Alright, so they're on nothing. If they draw threats that die to Decay, we're good. If they don't, we're dead. Okay, so here, I'd like to answer your question with a question, because I feel like your question is silly, holy guacamole tacos. What else could Seasons Past possibly be doing in my deck other than Recursion? Can you explain to me what else that card could be doing if it's not, like, recurring things? Like, what do you think the purpose of that card could be? Other than that. It's one of those questions where, like, when people are like, what's your win condition? And I'm like, you see there's creatures in the deck, right? You know creatures attack? So that block lets me kill this goose with Cry. Our opponent drew a couple of lands this game. I could Dark Petition for something, but, like, I just want to kill them in two here. Sylvan Advocate is a real good card. This is gonna break the hearts of a lot of people out there, but I would not be surprised if my conclusion at the end of this set is Seasons Past is not necessary or good in this deck. Because, like, in a match like this, it's definitely not particularly useful. Yeah, it's really expensive. Like, these are not effects I want against these aggro decks. Yeah, and like, the types of decks where this effect is theoretically good against it, like, they have a bunch of counter spells in this format. Like, I think these Abzan mid-rangey decks, yeah, it's win more. I think these Abzan mid-rangey decks are probably good. I think Sylvan Advocate, Murderous Rider, Nissa, Vastwood, Seer, Tireless Tracker, I think all of these cards with good removal spells are great, most likely. But I think this kind of expensive top end that generates extra value, I think, like, Sorin, Grim Nemesis, and Ob Nixilis, like, these are the types of appropriate top-end card advantage that you want to have, because those are top-end card advantage that also impact the board when you need to impact the board. Whereas, like, Seasons Past is card advantage that literally never impacts the board when you have it on turn 6. Well, that's a keep. Yeah, so the Abzan what's it called deck that we played the other day, the Abzan Ballista combo deck, like, Sorin, 4-mana Sorin was very good. Okay, well, now I'm gonna play it. I was gonna play Sylvan Advocate, but now I'm gonna play a tap land so we can Last Hope next turn. Yeah, I agree. I'm interested. I'm kind of hoping they just pre-ban Heliod in this format. I'm kind of expecting them to ban Walking Ballista, though. We'll see. I'm really hoping they don't make us live with Splinter Twin in this format again. I feel like if they banned Saheeli combo, the Ballista's gotta go. Or the Heliod's gotta go. This is a mulligan, right? Just no green mana. No early plays. This hand's great. I'm going to keep... I'm going to bottom the Mutavault for now. Just one of my colors. From my experience with Black-Green Season Pass, Petition is okay, Season Pass is clunky, and Tracker and 3-mana Nissa are awesome. Yeah, 3-mana Nissa is a card that's, like, overperformed in every deck that we've played it in. Not close. Stinkins, thank you for the 8 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. I really hope we see another set of Flip Walkers at some point. I feel like those are like some of the most balanced and best designed Planeswalkers they've ever had. Alright, so I think I just take their Nissa who shakes the world here, because that's the threat that eventually kills me. Hopefully they play out a Glint Sleeve Siphoner next turn, and then we get to cry and slaughter them. Vraska plus Ballista, it's worse because you don't understand the combo. Go back and read those cards you're talking about. You don't understand the combo that you're referring to. Yeah, Vraska plus Ballista needs a third card to combo. Hey, just like getting Delirium. I know they have another Fatal Push and Abrupt Decay, so I'm just going to read the bones here. Yeah, in. Where's Siege Rhino? Siege Rhino is not very good. Sorry to break your hearts. We're breaking a lot of hearts today. Siege Rhino is not very good, chat. Speaking of Nissa, I think I'm just gonna go grab her here. Get her flipped over, get another Planeswalker going. Starting the new year with love and harsh truths. Yep. Pretty much. Go. You're not very good, Jeff. How dare you? Yep. I mean, that's correct. I'm not very good. I don't want harsh truths. I want medium cards to be good. I believe that. Hey, Veer Green, thank you for the 4 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. I want to pay 2 life. No. Advocate. Tapped land. Go. Yeah, Chaotic Good's probably pretty close to my alignment. Lawful neutral could maybe be close to. Well, I guess I should double block here, right? Yeah, I should technically double block here. It doesn't matter. There's no wrong way to eat this recess. Let me fire up my 4 or 5 Shambling Vents. No problem, Immortal. Good morning, Lily. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to everybody out there. This is probably an Abrupt Decay matchup. Den Protector's probably okay if we're going to be grinding. To the Slaughter sounds great. Although enabling Delirium with this card isn't super easy. This card might just be worse than having more Murderous Riders or Heroes Downfalls in my sideboard. like trimming discard spells in matchups like this. This is a matchup where Seasons Past type stuff is good. It's a new-ish shelf. Been there for the last week or so, but yeah, new-ish. I can always trim Cry. I kind of expect them to board out stuff that this is good against. And keep Languish still, because it cleans up Nissa lands. I think I'm just going to play a tap land here rather than play my Advocate and let it get Abrupt Decayed or Fatal Pushed. Like, getting in early chip shots isn't very useful anyways. I can just, like, use my tap land this turn. Alright, now I don't have anything better to do, so might as well. Do they not have anything? Wow, they just have nothing. That's good for me, I guess. They have a Kalitas here, and they're figuring out how to tap for it. Sure. Edict to you. So take 3 here, down to 17. Get Vraska's Contempt the Nissa here. It's a shame we don't have Delirium to kill their land too. That'd be super good. If we draw a... Speaking of, if we draw a land next turn, this Advocate will be a 4/5, and then we can Languish, kill their Siphoner, and their 3/3, which would be great. Alright, well, even if we miss the land drop, we're languishing, but hoping to draw the land so we keep our threat. 26 lands later, the Jeff Hoagland story. Looking like we're still pretty ahead here, though, so... There's one thing I've learned from this stream, it's that none of my decks have enough lands. Yep. Most people undervalue making their land drops, in my experience playing Magic. However many lands you think are enough, you should probably add 1. And in reality, you should probably add 2, but one of the 2 lands should be a utility land. When in doubt, add more utility lands to your deck, is my golden rule. Which is one of the reasons why I like decks like this, because, like... Well, that's why you play more utility lands. So that way when you flood, your lands get to do stuff. Creature lands, castles, etc. These are a few of my favorite things. Clues enabling revolt, another one of my favorite things. Do 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 do. So, like, even if my opponent answers my board at this point, I've got a card draw left on the board, and I've got 4 creature lands at the moment. So... in response to them doing this, I'll do the slaughter them. So that way they only have a planeswalker and they have to sacrifice her. We do not have Delirium yet. There are only 3 cards. This deck's not very good at producing Delirium. If you look at the card types that we're playing, like we don't have artifacts, we don't have enchantments, we don't have fetch lands. So compared to like the Abzan Angel deck we had yesterday, where you were playing like Ballista and Coursers, you just like incidentally had a lot of things. I think we're 3-0, right? Yeah, we're 3-0, 6-0. Portillo's is great. Yeah. Portillo's is great. Get a cake shake if you've never been. The cake shake's super rich, so like I don't get it every time, but if you've never been, get a cake shake. What is Portillo's? Portillo's is a hot dogs and Italian beef place that originated in the Chicagoland area and has expanded out to a couple other places. I believe they have places in Florida, Indiana, and California now. They also have one in Bloomington where I live now, which is great because I grew up around Chicago. We have cast Seasons Past and it was bad. So the Abzan or Abzan cards, green-black cards have been good. Dark Petitions and Seasons Past have been clunky and unnecessary. That being said, the white splash for Shambling Vent has been good. Shambling Vent has been killing people. Automatic. Thank you for the very generous tier 2 sub and for the 12th month of that. Let's get you a sword to go with that shield. Thanks for keeping me around. So, I think I'm going to prioritize keeping my life total high with my start this game. We don't know what they're playing, so I think I'm just going to go Shambling Vent tapped on 1 pass, and probably like tapped Godless Shrine Thoughtseize on 2. Yeah, I think both of those would be fine, Marty. I also think we would want to clean up some of the 3-mana spells that we're playing. Like, we don't want to play a bunch of weird one-ofs, probably, if we're not playing Seasons Past, but I agree that 4-mana War Sorin and Nissa Worldmaker are both fine cards to have at the top end. I agree with that assessment, that Shambling Vent's probably the best creature land from the second set of creature lands. I think that is accurate and reasonable. Think it's right to take Vivian here. And now I'm going to shock this in so I can Fatal Push the Scavenging Ooze. Sorry, did I say Worldmaker? I meant Shakes the World, the new one. Worldmaker's the old one. This was a good game to win the die roll in. It's weird how much more fair these green decks are when... It's weird how much more fair these green decks are when they don't have Elf on 1. It might be right to Thoughtseize here, but it's just so mana inefficient. I think most of the old creature lands are too good. I think I'd rather they print a new cycle that are slightly powered down rather than reprint the old ones directly. Alright, this is working out okay. I get to go ahead and thought. So their hand right now is... They keep playing the land that they drew for the turn, which is good for us. So, like, I know their hand right now is Castle, Steel Leaf. So my opponent gave us extra information by playing their forests out each turn. You telling me Lava Claw Reaches is too good? That's the only one from that cycle that's fine. I think Lava Claw Reaches would be the only one that I'd be like, yeah, you could reprint that one verbatim. We've not played Advocate and Nissa, however, they do work the way you're asking. They work well together. Looking for Fatal Pushes and Abrupt Decays here. Stirring Wildwood might be okay. Might be fine too. I think if they attack with Lovestruck Beast, I'm obligated to trade here, which sucks, but that's what it is. If they have the Devotion Pump spell, we get into trouble here. But outside of the Devotion Pump spell, I think we're pretty far ahead with Grim Nemesis coming down next turn. So we plus Sorin, we reveal the top card of our deck, we gain life, they lose life. Except when it's a land tier, then nothing happens. Oh wait, we don't gain life, it just drains, right? I don't know why I thought we gained life. The Dark Petition, sign me up. Shoot, is Dark Petition just getting Sylvan Advocate here? I feel like it's just getting Sylvan Advocate here, right? Oh, it's minus X gains life. Yeah, that's what it is. I knew part of this card gained life. Yeah. Hey, Big Mama. Feel like it's been a hot second. Hope your New Year's is starting off well. I'm at 8. They're attacking my Planeswalker on 7. Deal. Okay, so now we're gonna fetch Cry. Actually, we're gonna fetch Languish, right? And then we'll -1 the Sorin to finish the Lovestruck Beast. Just in case they draw a thing. Yeah, our sideboard's definitely been a little bit awkward in the games that we've played, but, like, we're also winning all the games that we play, so it's probably fine that it's awkward. It's probably not that big of a deal. Do I want these two, the Slaughters? I'm not sure that I do. Probably don't. Yeah, our opponents also haven't had particularly good draws, unlike our Thoughtseizes have been good at breaking up their curves. So, like, we've won a lot of die rolls, too. So, like, when we're on the play, they're a lot less scary. Like, this hand, not having an untapped Black Source till 2 could be a little slow. Especially if they have a dork on 1. Like, they're, like, often have. No, and again, like, this is another thing, too. Like, we've been doing well in these matches, but, like, our opponents haven't been playing dorks on 1, and we've been winning die rolls. It's like, these decks are just night and day different when they get to start like that. That card's scary. So, Shaper Sanctuary here says, whenever we target their stuff, they draw a card. So, we're gonna need to get rid of that one. Is it crazy to just take Steel Leaf Champion here? I kind of think I just want to take that. And just like, again, like, this is going back to, like, we were talking about Thoughtseize yesterday, and someone was like, Thoughtseize is always tempo negative, and situations like this are a good example of how it's really not tempo negative a lot of the time. A lot of the time, your tempo negative card is actually fine because you're disrupting their curve. So, I'm going to see if we can bait them here a little bit. I'm going to play Shambling Vent tap to make a clue, and I'm just going to pass. And then hopefully they're going to have Vivian make the Questing Beast kill Tireless Tracker, and then we'll crack the clue, Fatal push the Questing Beast in response, and then clean the Vivian up. Because this could look like I'm getting set up to just, like, crack the clue and block. Even if they put counters on here too, that's like also fine for me, because this is going to get a second counter next turn to be able to kill this from 5. So our ideal play out of them here is try to kill our Tireless Tracker, because Fatal Push just savages them. One could argue I was a master at baiting, chat. Yeah, I think even with Shaper Sanctuary, I'm just, like, in for this Fatal Push. Tracker plus Fatal Push is so good. Yep, down to 8. So we'll crack this, we'll Fatal Push their thing. We'll attack them for 6, we'll hold up Murderous Rider for next turn. Why is that, Weatherlighty? Blue-White controls one of the better decks in this format right now, I think. It's really powerful and obnoxious. They have 8 mana for creatures here. They have, like, Walking Ballista. We could be in trouble, perhaps. Another Questerson, sure. They have Sirach as well. Not just this. That's fine. Lots of people are off it because of how hard it gets bodied by the ramp decks. Okay, I believe that. Thank goodness. Have a land. So I think I'm going to pump the brakes for a turn here. And just pass. Thanks everybody for getting out here this morning, by the way. We got 1,200 people in here. Sure. So my tracker is bigger than their beasts at this point. think I need to kill through these beasts. Probably gonna Fatal Push one of these beasts, and then, probably Cry next turn. Oh, I shouldn't have tapped off all my green, huh? That's whatever. Just won't attack again this turn. You got it? Whew! I love Sylvan Advocate. It's my favorite. I just fire up my 6/7 here. Alright, and this 6/6. Have I mentioned that I love creature lands? I feel like it's been a while since I've mentioned I love creature lands. Alright, now we're 8-0-4-0. Yeah, they stack. They're great. So, again, I feel like this is a good example of something I often talk about is people like to focus on our match results. And, like, while we're undefeated with this deck, I feel like it's a very easy conclusion that this deck is not ideal. The Dark Petitions and Season Pass part of this deck feel clunky and unnecessary. The Sylvan Advocate, Tireless Tracker, Thoughtseize, Fatal Push creature lands part of this deck feels pretty great. And we're gonna play this last match to see how many extra Moto fun points we can get. But after we do that, we'll kind of walk through ways I might change this to look a little bit different. Without that top end. I don't know if Nissa's actually the droid we're looking for or not. So, like, while Nissa is nice and definitely powerful, 1, this deck's not ramping into her. 2, I don't think we want to build it to ramp into her. 3, Nissa, who shakes the world, makes your lands often die to removal spells. I'm not sure that I want more win conditions. If that makes sense. I think I can keep this on the play. It's a little slow, but I think on the mulligan I'd throw this back. On the draw I'd throw this back, but on the play this is probably fine. All right, so we're 4-1. That's not bad. That's not bad. Let's talk about how I changed this deck. Okay, so the top end felt pretty unnecessary. I think if I'm getting rid of a lot of that chunky top end, we can cut these Elvish Rejuvenators. I think if we're getting rid of Dark Petition, Read the Bones becomes largely unnecessary. Cry of the Carnarium was actually very reasonable at multiple points in that league, and I kind of wouldn't mind playing another one. The fact that you can curve Sylvan Advocate into Cry and, like, not lose your Sylvan Advocate was, like, really sweet at multiple points. We have Tireless Tracker was absurd, and we definitely just want to max out on that card. It's real good. Hey, thanks for the entire year of support, Ninja Dave. Hope your 2020 is off to a great start. Thanks for keeping me around. For people wondering what happened there at the end, we queued into mono green ramp, which is effectively unwinnable for mid-range decks or control decks. So rather than spend the next 20 minutes or 15 minutes or so losing to a matchup that's largely unwinnable, I decided to move on with my life. I think if they don't ban anything out of that ramp deck on the 6th, decks like this are going to be in a pretty bad way, even if you get them to an ideal spot. But I'm kind of expecting that deck to get something kicked out of it. If I'm being honest. Probably something more like this threat base. There's also the very real possibility that, like, this deck, the green-black Delirium deck's been going around a little bit, making the rounds, putting up some results. It's quite possible that, like, this build is just worse than that, but I do think Sylvan Advocate's definitely a card worth exploring. I loved this card when it was in Standard, and I think it showed really well in that league the power of this card in various matchups. It's a very reasonable early play that scales as you get into the late game, and in conjunction with even a single creature land, it closes the game out very, very quickly. So I would be surprised once this format settles if this card doesn't have a home somewhere in a competitive Pioneer deck. All right, what are we doing? We're gonna roll on into some blue-red Eldrazi up next. I'm gonna hit a quick ad roll while I get set up for this next, but when we come back, we're gonna kick the tires on what is one of my favorite decks in Pioneer for the first time in a while. Hopefully this one lives up to the fond memories from the first couple weeks of the format. Back in a few, folks.